History remembers Ferdinand Magellan, the man who set out to circle the globe. But history often forgets the man who may have actually completed the journey first. His story did not begin with glory or ambition, but in chains. He was a boy, torn from his home in the bustling ports of Malacca, sold into slavery and given a new name, Enrique. His master was Magellan, a driven Portuguese navigator convinced he could find a westward route to the Spice Islands. In the courts of Spain, surrounded by maps and skepticism, Enrique was a living shadow, a testament to the lands his master promised to reach. He learned their languages, their customs, their God. He watched as Magellan secured the patronage of the Spanish king, assembling a fleet of 5 aging ships for a voyage into the unknown. The journey was a descent into hell. They crossed an ocean far wider than any European had ever imagined, a vast, unforgiving expanse they named the Pacific. Starvation gnawed at the crew. Men ate leather, sawdust, and rats. Scurvy rotted their gums and buckled their legs. Through it all, Enrique endured, his knowledge of the world growing with every league they sailed. After months of suffering, they finally made landfall in the islands that would one day be called the Philippines. And it was here that Enrique's world, and the fate of the expedition, changed forever. When Magellan sent him ashore to trade, Enrique spoke to the natives in his own Malay tongue, and they understood. He was home. Or at least, he was back in the world he knew, the world from which he had been stolen. He was no longer just a slave. He was the expedition's key, the only bridge between 2 colliding worlds. His voice translated Magellan's demands for tribute, his warnings, his declarations of a new faith. He stood between the armored conquistadors and the proud chieftains, a man of 2 identities and none. He translated for Raja Humabon of Cebu, who embraced the Spanish. But he also translated the defiant words of Lapu-Lapu, the chieftain of Mactan, who refused to bow to a foreign king. This defiance led to Magellan's final fatal mistake. Convinced of his own superiority, Magellan led a small force to Mactan to make an example of Lapu-Lapu. The battle was a disaster. Weighed down by armor in the shallow water, the Spanish were overwhelmed. Enrique watched as his master, the great navigator, was cut down on the bloody sands, a world away from the glory he sought. In his will, Magellan had promised Enrique his freedom upon his death. But the new commanders of the fleet refused. To them, he was still just property, a tool to be used. This betrayal severed the final tie. At a feast hosted by Raja Humabon, a trap was sprung. The Spanish who came ashore were massacred, an act of vengeance for Magellan's arrogance. Accounts differ on what happened next. Some say Enrique helped orchestrate the attack. Others say he simply vanished. He slipped away from the burning ships and the dying dream of conquest, melting back into the islands he knew. The surviving Spanish ships eventually limped back to Spain, completing the first official circumnavigation. But Enrique, the boy from Malacca, had already crossed every meridian. He had been taken from the east and traveled west until he arrived back in the east. He had circled the entire world. His journey wasn't one of conquest, but of survival. A silent, unwilling participant who became the first true globetrotter, his name a whisper in the margins of a story he helped write. Subscribe